Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
The San Diego region could get up to 3 inches of rain this weekend as a Pacific storm moves in. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Trabulsi. The National Weather Service issued a flood watch that starts late tonight. As KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen shows us, residents along Choyas Creek are bracing for the storm with memories of the devastating flood nearly 2 years ago still fresh in their minds.
The water come over here.
Oh my gosh.
Come over here, cover my bed, and then I gotta get out.
Memories of the January 2024 flood are still fresh in Javier Aguayo's mind.
I lay down here last time, and the water come over here. We get out that way and run out to the alley.
He is still rebuilding from that flood. Now with the storm coming and the flood advisory, Aguayo says he doesn't know how to feel.
I still don't finish my house. All my drains are plugged. And city said it's gonna do something, they don't do anything. So it's another rain come over, and I don't know what's gonna happen.
The city recently cleared the channels in Choyas Creek, as well as the storm drains and inlets with a history of debris buildup.
We're still so nervous.
Aguayo's neighbor, Kayla Estrada, says she doesn't know what to expect. The fact that the creek has been cleared makes her even more anxious.
Because it seems like the creek is a lot more open, so more like pockets of water can kind of just like build up right there versus like going through it.
We've doubled down on channel maintenance since the flooding in January of 24.
In its report to the City Council Environment Committee this week, the Stormwater Department says despite the strides it's made, significant gaps remain.
With the difficult budget situation, we've had to significantly cut back on overtime, so we're not able to address much of any of this work under these unfunded programs.
For Aguayo, this weekend's storm is weighing a lot on his mind.
I don't feel good, man. It's a lot of stress, you know. A lot of stress.
The city says they have crews monitoring the creek throughout the whole entire weekend. And if residents see any illegal dumping, they should report it to the Get It Done app. In Choyas Creek, Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
A Gallup poll earlier this year found only about a third of Americans are happy with the way democracy is working in this country. Meanwhile, other surveys found between 30 to 41% of Americans were open to some form of authoritarianism. And President Trump himself has suggested Americans might like a dictator. Against this backdrop, KPBS's Amitha Sharma spoke to 2 San Diego men about what it's like to live in an autocracy. And she joins us now. Welcome, Amitha.
Oh, it's good to be with you, John.
Good to see you here. We typically think of people living under dictatorships as having no rights, as powerless to choose their own leaders, no civil liberties like freedom of speech, religion, or equality, but it is actually more than that, right?
It is more than that. I interviewed a man who wanted to be anonymous because of his job. He's a local university professor. He grew up in Saudi Arabia. When he moved there as a kid, the government confiscated their passports, so they could not go to and from the country without notifying the government first, and the government's hospitality could be revoked at any time. Later, he moved to the Soviet Union before it fell apart in 1991, and what he really homed in there was the lack of alternatives to political leadership. So if you were unhappy with the politicians that you had, there was no real viable option or opposition to replace them, which you can say of current day Russia as well. And This professor also said that people there had to reconcile within themselves what they knew to be true and the government's version of the truth, which dictated how they behaved in public just to get through their daily lives. I spoke about this with San Diego Mesa College political scientist Carl Luna, who said that what the professor described is a typical trade-off that you find in autocracies, and that trade-off is obedience for protection.
As long as you played by the rules of the system you were under, didn't push, didn't ask questions, you'd be left alone to a degree. But anybody could be thrown under the bus by anybody else if they had to rat somebody else out to the state. Authoritarian states leave you poor, leave you without choice, and leave you with a shorter lifespan on average.
A second man I spoke with grew up in Iran. He works at a local university and also did not want his name used for fear of retaliation. He said in Iran, people are reluctant to call the police to report a crime because it is fraught. At any time, the situation could flip and you could be interrogated as a wrongdoer. Iran is a theocracy. He said people there lead double lives if they don't agree with the government. Those people have to pretend to be religious and pretend to share the beliefs of their government in school or in front of anyone who they don't know or trust. If they don't want to fast during the month of Ramadan, they have to sneak around to eat. And then they, for the most part, can be themselves in the privacy of their homes in front of family and friends. Luna says living this kind of duality takes a psychological toll and clashes with basic human questions.
What is my identity? Who am I? Is the fundamental question we all have to answer. And authoritarian states demand that no matter what, you must be loyal to the state, ignore what your eyes see, and simply do what they say. But that means when you're on your own, you've got to deal with these realities. It makes one schizophrenic, stressed out. One of our biggest freedoms is the freedom to not care what the state thinks, to simply do what we want.
Meanwhile, America's status as a democracy is wobbly. UC San Diego political scientist Barbara Walters says the United States is in a high-risk zone of partial democracy, partial autocracy, also known as anocracy.
Since Donald Trump has come back to the White House, our democracy has declined faster than it ever has in America's history. And everybody would agree that we are no longer in the same category as a healthy democracy like Denmark or Canada or Australia. We are in this middle zone no matter how you measure our health.
And John, I do want to mention that the United States is not the only country that is struggling with democracy. A report by Democracy Without Borders earlier this year found that for the first time in 20 years, the number of autocracies is greater than the number of democracies around the world, and that the proportion of people living in democracies is at its lowest in 50 years.
My goodness. Well, depressing, but very important to know. Thanks so much, Amitha.
Thank you.
This story is part of our Public Matters initiative. You can learn more about it on our website at kpbs.org/publicmatters. The Old Globe's production of How the Grinch Stole Christmas is a holiday tradition for many San Diego families. This year, the classic Dr. Seuss tale will be told for the first time in Spanish. The staged reading has been in the works since before the pandemic. KPBS education reporter Katie Anastas gives us a peek behind the curtain.
How do you take Dr. Seuss, who creates words, and translate that and still make it feel like we're honoring the Spanish language, but also honoring Dr. Seuss's language? That's been the really fun part. My name is James Vasquez. I'm the director of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. We are going to present the full show audibly. at music stands with some movement, some set pieces, and some looks of costume.
My name is Michael Castillejos, and I am playing the Grinch.
There's something I'm supposed to catch, right?
The speakers of Spanish will know that sometimes you get translations and it's clear that it's a little bit of an afterthought, and that is not the case here.
The Who's walk around all the time, and when we're excited, when we're sad, whenever we express emotion, there's an action in the sound, and we go, Whoo. Well, do we keep that, or do we make it kin? And does kin sound the same? We started playing around and leaned more into the yin of it all.
It's a show with a message of inclusion. It's a show that has a real heart beating at the center that says, hey, what if the answer is actually just taking hands and singing together? And I think that is a message that's always good to hear, but now in this particular cultural moment, for speakers of Spanish, I think it's beautiful to see that represented on stage.
Great.
Interesting. Stephen King set his Running Man novel and its dystopian future in 2025, so it's fitting that a new film adaptation arrives today. KPBS cinema junkie Beth Accomando has a review, as well as recommendations for what else to see this weekend.
Back in 1987.
On your marks. Get set. Killian, I'll be back.
The first Running Man was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Only in a rerun.
This year, we get a remake that tries to be more faithful to Stephen King's original novel.
Welcome to the Running Man.
Edgar Wright delivers a fast-paced remake, pumped up with effects that make it feel like a summer action flick. But he also tackles some dark themes that tap into current fears about greed, AI, fake news, big media mergers, you listening, Paramount? And authoritarian governments.
Stop filming me!
I love Wright, and once again he displays great craftsmanship. But he fumbles in the final act with overly complicated plotting and an ending that delivers neither satisfying revenge nor King's bleak dystopian warning. Plus, his Running Man does not offer the repeatable viewing fun of the original film. The San Diego Asian Film Festival has 2 days left, but a hit from last year opens today at Digital Gym Cinema, Mistress Dispeller. The superbly crafted and slyly executed documentary explores a new industry in China in which you can hire someone to surreptitiously end your spouse's extramarital affair. And saving the weirdest for last, Romania's wildly gifted but wholly eccentric Radu Jude tackles the Dracula legend in a bonkers blend of comedy and social commentary. The material does not merit its 3-hour length, but there are some genius moments if you have the patience to wait. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Rain, and more rain. If you think we've already been in a stormy pattern, well, get set, because tonight we get into some of the heaviest rain, which means inches of rain is on the way. For the city, we're looking at close to 2 inches around some areas. As you get into the mountains, 2 to 5 inches of rainfall is certainly possible. And then as you work your way in the deserts, we'll even pick up possibly an inch of rain there as well. Snow levels should stay pretty high for this event, though briefly dipping down below 7,000 feet as we head into Saturday night. So that's something to consider, but ultimately, though, it's about that rain and the risk for flooding, even river flooding possible. The city tonight just gets started here, 63 for the low, but you can see the widespread rain across the region, including Mount Laguna, which drops into the mid-40s with that rain steady at times. As we work our way through tonight, it does get pretty active here into tomorrow morning. Even throughout the day tomorrow, we still have the chance to bring in some heavier rain. So we'll have to watch for that chance of maybe a few stray thunderstorms, but ultimately probably some of the heaviest rain near and before daybreak, though it will be a wet setup here right around sunrise and a little bit beyond as we keep the heavy rain in place. 67 for the high in the city. We go to 66 in Oceanside and El Cajon. Same thing there. Take a look at what future radar and satellite brings us. You can see some of this moisture just setting up as we head into this evening, but the real slug of heavy rain comes in as we get beyond midnight tonight, and that's where that pipeline of moisture comes through with a very heavy rain, even into 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The winds continue to bring in some of that rain as we head into tomorrow afternoon. There will be the chance for a few rumbles of thunder mixing in with this, and the storm system starts to spin up and push ashore as we head into Saturday evening. Even into Sunday morning, though, early time frame still could have a few stray showers out there pushing their way on in before the storm system fully departs as we get into Sunday evening. So rainfall between now and Sunday morning does look to be another 1 to 2 inches around the city. Like I said, some spots picking up close to 2 inches and a little bit more too, I think, in some of our mountainous areas as well, where we can squeeze out a little bit extra rain. Rainfall for the coast holding on right through Sunday. There will be some more showers lingering into Monday. There's another storm system hot on its heels, so we don't even really get a chance to fully catch a break as we go into the start of the work week. And we will continue to look at those rain showers continuing in the mountains, some extra clouds lingering for Tuesday there. As we hold on to the desert communities, you can see holding on to the 60s with the showers, keeping things cool for the week. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constancer.
The Grossmont Union High School District Board's conservative majority drew criticism from community members at their meeting Thursday after refusing to consider a resolution affirming protections of immigrants. KPBS reporter Elaine Alfaro says board members openly clashed with audience members and at one point walked out of the meeting.
More than 30 people gathered, marching and chanting before the school board meeting, and that was just the warm-up to what happened during the meeting. Trustee Chris Feit proposed a resolution calling for district-wide resources and training on immigrant rights. It also would have created a hotline and system for reporting ICE activity. These steps build on existing school regulation and state law. Lillian Zender is a senior at West Hills High School. She was among many who called for the expanded resources outlined in the resolution.
The biggest thing for me right now is that current NA, the needing for students here to be welcome and to feel safe. And I don't feel like with the current mindset of a lot of the board members, that's something that can be done without a little bit of pressure and influence.
However, no one in the board's 4-member majority would second Feit's motion, so the resolution died without a vote. Audience members erupted in anger.
And can I get a second?
Amid the shouts, members of the majority temporarily walked out of the meeting, followed by the superintendent and members of district staff. During board member comments at the end of the meeting, Trustee Scott Eckert explained why he didn't second the resolution.
That said, though, I believe some of the initial resolutions were points that were taking the district outside of our role.
Trustee Jim Kelly used his speaking time to rebuke audience members for their protest.
This is the most disrespectful crowd. You're demonstrating the exact opposite of civil discourse, tolerance, inclusivism, all these things you're calling for. You are the polar opposite of it.
Feit said he would like to work on a revised resolution with Eckert, but given the current atmosphere, a different result seems unlikely. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.
Mission Trails Regional Park is hosting a holiday market this weekend, rain or shine. KPBS Arts reporter Julia Dixon-Evans has the details.
At the Mission Trails Visitor Center, a cozy, crackling fireplace and a local holiday market might be a perfect rainy day nature fix with sweeping views of the park's iconic 5 peaks.
We are in the heart of the park. Mission Trails is an 8,000-acre open space park with 65 miles of trails.
Jennifer Morrissey is the executive director of the Mission Trails Regional Park Foundation, which supports the city with projects like land acquisitions and invasive plant removal.
We at the foundation organize a holiday marketplace every year, and it's a way to have local makers and artists sell their wares and share their creativity with the community, and a portion of all of the sales come back to the foundation to support Mission Trails.
One local vendor is Elizabeth Rosales Aguilar of Raiz Chocolate.
The chocolate bars, these are 70%, and they're made with a very particular cacao, which is called almendra blanca or cacao carmelo. This is the first heirloom cacao variety that Mexico has, and it's pretty rare. It only grows in a very small region of the state of Chiapas and Tabasco.
Rosales Aguilar's bean to bar chocolates draw on the rich cacao flavors of her childhood.
In Mexico, traditionally, we use cacao lavado, which is a post-processing practice of cacao. So it gives you a deeper flavor of like chocolate. It's like a more intense. It's also more bitter and astringent, but in Mexico, that's the way we drink it.
The holiday market runs from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. Julia Dixon-Evans, KPBS News.
From elaborate structures to simple backyard tree houses, buildings have been built around trees since time immemorial. But what about a house built around a rock? There is such a place in Jamul, but this is no ordinary house, and it's definitely not just an ordinary rock. From the air, it looks like any other custom home, this one atop a hill in Jamul. But from the ground, its uniqueness begins to reveal itself.
I'd never heard of anything like it. It was an incredible concept.
The concept? To build a house around a boulder, a 14-foot boulder. This house is now for sale, and Janine Savory is the real estate agent in charge of finding its next owner. She's been in the business for 25 years, but this is the first time she's seen this.
It's funny because although I hadn't heard about it, once I started marketing it, so many people came forward and said, oh, I remember this. I've seen it in the past. Or I had someone say that they came and helped build it. It was like a community build when it was being done.
That was in 2000. Architect Drew Hubble designed the home, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because Hubble is the son of famed San Diego artist James Hubble. The younger Hubble says the original owners had some very specific ideas, and at the center of it all, the boulder.
They came with a book of about 20 pages of building program, which is unique for a client. And one of them was the boulder behind me. It was really a spirit to the property for them. There was history of Kumeyaay being around the area and evidence of fires being lit underneath the boulder.
The boulder sits in a moat, a small waterfall providing a soothing sound throughout the great room on one side, the primary bedroom on the other. But the boulder and its moat provide more than an imposing presence.
The moat serves another purpose in that it mediates the temperature swing along with the thermal mass of the boulder, so it keeps it in that low 60s range of temperatures.
Thermal mass is defined as the ability of a material, in this case the boulder, to store heat and release it naturally when the interior temperature dips. On the flip side, it provides a cooling effect during hot weather. The house has this stove for extra heating if needed, but there is no central heat or air. There's something else unique about this home that is out of sight. Almost. Its walls are made of straw bales. The home follows a tradition of straw bale construction with this. It's called a truth window, an opening to see the actual straw. It helps the boulder and moat in regulating the interior temperature.
It stays somewhere between 60 and 65 degrees. We worked on this home throughout the summer when the temperatures were up to 100 degrees outside. And when you came inside the home, it was always a real comfortable 78-ish. So the cooling properties of it combined with the heating from the exterior and then the superior insulation of the straw bale, it really did self-regulate to like a nice, comfortable temperature.
At nearly 3,500 square feet, the home is not huge. There are 2 guest bedrooms, and the kitchen is part of the great room. But then there are the outside spaces. This is a house that practically begs you to get outside of it. It is surrounded by beautiful convivial conversation spaces, courtyards, fountains. Come on, I'll show you. Not surprisingly, there is a pool and a jacuzzi. This was actually a later add-on, but there's still more. there is this little secluded patio, a good place to be if it's windy, but you still want to be outside. This is right off of the living room and the kitchen with its beautiful trio of fountains, but there is one more beautiful place for you to see. It's here on the west side of the house, right next to this arcade. This is where you come when you want to take in the really gorgeous views that are afforded by this property. They tell me that on a clear day, you can see all the way to Point Loma. Back inside, there's something else, more subtle, a nod to the house's creators. James Hubble lent his artistry to the various colored rock inlays found throughout the home, a vibrant touch from one of San Diego's most revered artists.
Color was very important, and really nature was the inspiration, and so many beautiful colors come, from nature. So that was his biggest inspiration.
Sitting on its perch above Jamul, the house is not too far from urban San Diego, but it's also certain to retain its rural flavor. That's because it's adjacent to the San Diego National Wildlife Refuge and the Rancho Jamul Ecological Reserve, a place rooted in the ancient history of what we now call San Diego County, with a boulder bringing benefits seen and unseen to whoever's lucky enough to live in it next. And if you have $2 million laying around, it can be yours. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, which of course is kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I'm John Carroll. Do have an excellent evening and a wonderful weekend.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.